Welcome back, everyone. Today we're going to do a bit more Saturn and a few more miracle mathematics, but very simple. So we haven't gone through my fretboard discovery yet on this channel. We did it on Mercurial Pathways with Matthew and Melissa, Matt from Apocalypse and Melissa from Mercurial Pathways. So this discovery here, the sun's in the way a bit today, but so this is the table of all the frets. Fret 1, fret 2, and all the way down to fret 24. And it's got the measurements from the bridge and the measurements from the nut, and also the width of the fret itself. So 3 separate measures, one coming down from the nut and one coming up from the bridge, and the width of the. But that'll be coming up in a video soon about this whole fretboard thing and the discoveries that I made. Basically, this is the magnum opus for me. So we haven't gone over it on this. It's going to be one of the bigger videos. So we're going to get to this. But basically, we're going to have a look at when we take stuff from this table and we apply it to the Great Pyramid base, or we apply it to the equatorial diameter. This table gives us the most incredible things. So I was pondering Saturn, and as I do, and we know about Saturn's 378-day synodic period. And if you've seen the other videos about Saturn and the 24th fret in that table I've shown, basically, we'll get to this in a new video, but of all the frets and how it works with the cosmic synodic periods and orbital periods and all sorts of amazing things. So when we take the 24th fret and it's 157 millimeters from the bridge, and we times 24th fret by the 157.5 millimeters where it sits, we get Saturn's synodic period. So we know that the 24th fret is the last fret that we can actually play a note on, and then it dives into the sound hole, into the abyss. So he's the boundary and he is the restrictor. So I was pondering Saturn, and I was watching a video on a brand new channel I found. It's called Merlin, and he's got this retrograde video, and it's absolutely amazing. I don't know if you guys will see that, but his channel name is Merlin. I'll put it in the links, but he did an insanely good retrograde video. So we learned from Merlin that the Saturn retrograde it retrogrades exactly 7 degrees, and we know that's been called the 7th body from Earth. So we know that Saturn's kind of related to 7 and also 6. Every time Saturn retrogrades, he retrogrades 7 degrees. So I took 7,920 miles of the equatorial diameter of Earth, and I divided it by the 7th fret's position, measuring down from the nut. It's 209 millimeters, 0.5. So I divided that into the equatorial diameter of Earth, because I could see that 24th fret was the boundary, and it was corresponding to Saturn. But 7 being very much associated with Saturn, of course I started thinking, well, how is his fretboard? Is the 7th fret got anything to do with Saturn? Does it relate to Saturn in any way? Well, of course, we divide the equatorial diameter of Earth by the 7th fret's position, measuring down from the nut, and we get 378.0. So that is, again, so here we have the 7th fret is related to Saturn. When we divide it into the equatorial diameter of Earth, the position, we get 378. So before we move on, I just wanted to repeat myself a bit, and so we can get this really into our skulls. But the whole Imperial, no connection between Imperial and Metric. So let's have a look. No connection. The distance from the Great Pyramid to the equator in miles is 2062. To find the kilometres, we have to times that by 1.609, because that's how many kilometres to a mile. So we find that out, we get the kilometres. That's the answer. In distance from Great Pyramid to the equator is 3,317 kilometres, 0.76. Then we actually draw a circle with a radius of 2062, and the circumference is 12,960, which is E, or half precession. So this has given us, draw a circle with this as a radius, this is our circumference. We draw a circle with a radius of 256, we get 1609. So these are obviously not connected, and when we times the 12,960 by C, 256, we get the same answer. So as you can see, that this is basically the link between metric and imperial. Moving on to the next miracle, we've got a Nonagon. Now we understand at 9, and all of us researchers out there have found out that the answer always sums to 9. So the digital root of all these you know, whether it be synodic periods or all sorts of things, the sum always adds to 9. And we know that this is kind of like the completion and all sorts of things you can find for yourself. But 9's this spiritual number, the spiritual ruler. What we found though, what I found is that of course a Nonagon has, the angles are 140 degrees, and there's of course 9 of them. It adds to 1260. Now this, with the fretboard discovery and the length of string discovery, this is huge and massive. You also saw in the Amazon video update that I did, it's got the 63 and 63, then 5 lots of 70. So 63 and 63 is 1260, and or 126. So this is really important around the whole world, and we'll also later on find out about all the different measures, weights, and around the whole world, that 126 is actually extremely common across a lot of cultures. But then of course, what did we learn from the circle? We learned that any radius goes around the circumference 6 times, 6.285 times. Any radius will go around 6.285 times. So if we just take a radius of 1, the circumference will be 6.285. So watch what happens when we take the 9, the Nonagon, the spiritual, and we times it by 1. And I'll show you what I mean. So basically we can say that 9 and 1 give us the equatorial diameter of Earth, because a Nonagon, the angles inside of a Nonagon add to 1260, and when we just take a radius of 1, the circumference is 6.285714. When we take those two together, 1260 times 2 pi, we get 7,920. So this is clearly another incredible way to discover the actual size or equatorial diameter of the Earth, by taking the angles of a Nonagon, 9, timesing it by 1, basic radius of 1, we get 2 pi. So we take those together and we get equatorial diameter. Amazing. I wanted to show you guys this one as well. We discovered how many feet it was. You'll see in the other last video, or the second last one. This is the feet from the King's Chamber to the equator, or the Great Pyramid to the equator. And I just divided it by the equatorial diameter to see what happened, and we got 137.4667. Now we could round that up easily to 5, so that would be the golden angle. So I just found that amazing, because if we take the 137, nearly 0.5, very close to 0.5, isn't it? But we take that and we times it by the equatorial diameter of Earth, and we get the exact feet from the King's Chamber, or the Great Pyramid, to the equator. So we continue with all the fretboard discoveries, and we plug it into Great Pyramid or equatorial size and Earth size, lots of things, but you'll see how absolutely perfect this system is. So 12,756 is the equatorial diameter in kilometres. If we divide that by D, and D is on the 22nd fret and on the 10th fret, that's where D is played. So when we go to the 22nd fret, it's at 176.8 millimeters from the bridge, and we divide that into the 12,756, we get 72.1. So that's D. The note of D is 72 hertz, 144 hertz, 288 hertz. So then we take again from the 22nd fret, we take 453 millimeters, we draw a circle with a radius of 72.1, and we get 453. So this is distance from the bridge to the 22nd fret, and this is the distance from the nut to the 22nd fret. So we can see that all these things correspond back to each other. Then we take the perimeter of the Great Pyramid, and we divide it by the width of the 22nd fret, which is 10.5 millimeters, and we get 288. So as you can see, we take all the 22nd, we got the measurement from the nut to the fret, and from the bridge to the fret, and the width of the fret as well. So at the 10th fret, so there's 2 places you can play D on a monochord with the 24 frets, and it's the 10th fret and the 22nd fret. So the 10th fret was actually 21 millimeters wide, obviously double the 22nd fret, makes sense. And we divide that into 7,920, and we get 377.14, very, very close to Saturn synodic. But it is actually, 377 is the 14th Fibonacci number. So Osiris and 14, but 377 is the 14th Fibonacci number. This is one of my favorite sexy numbers. again, equatorial diameter of Earth, you're going to see this number a lot in kilometres and miles. 7,920 equatorial diameter of Earth. We times that by 33.4, which is the width of the second fret. And in 2, obviously, the second fret, 2, Gemini means twin or double. So we take the second fret width and we times it by the equatorial diameter of Earth in miles, and we get 264,528. Now 264 is half of 528. So we've got this, if we double this, we get 528. We've taken equatorial diameter of Earth, and we've taken it's the second fret, double, second fret, and we've got the width of the second fret, timed it by equatorial diameter, and we've got 264,528. I just wanted to show that 630 centimetres, this is our string length that I've discovered. We'll get right into that later. But I wanted to show that it's 14 Egyptian cubits, and 12 Royal Egyptian cubits is 630 centimetres. So isn't that quite tidy? I mean, it's self-explanatory really. So we've got 630 inches. Well, that equals 1,600 centimetres. I had a look at 144 times 378, and it was 54,432. I realised that 63 days is 54,432.00 seconds, and 1,512 hours, and that is obviously half the base of the Great Pyramid. For some more beautiful numbers, we'll take the Schumann resonance, right, 7.83 hertz, and we'll times it by our little lemur, this thing that we've sort of found that we've named the lemur. We take the Schumann resonance and we times the lemur, and we get 22,378,14. Just a beautiful number. 22, the master builder's number, Saturn and Osiris. I found that just beautiful.